Welcome to the First Customers Podcast. Today we have Bryce Wuori with us. He's the CEO of Pavewise, a software and hardware company disrupting the construction industry with AI. They've partnered with companies like John Deere and other equipment manufacturers. Bryce, welcome to the show. Thanks for coming today.
Hey, Paris, thanks for having me.
So you're disrupting the construction industry with AI. Explain a little bit about that, and then we'll get into how you got those first customers.
Yeah, so we're a software company. Construction, horizontal paving is a little behind times in technology as it is. What we're doing with our technology is taking away a lot of the busy work that project managers and construction foremen have with, managing paperwork, looking at schedules, permits, and we're using AI on the back end to use that and automate a lot of that busyness work. We're also using it to put in weather impacts and scheduling risks, using that data to really identify the workflow going on out there and to perform the best they can in the field.
Okay, so talk a little bit about how you came to this point of creating this company or seeing this opportunity.
Yeah, I've been in the industry well, construction for 18 years, paving generally like 15, 16, just in asphalt paving. And I built it originally about 7 years ago as a way for me to manage projects. I had a construction company. I had an asphalt consulting company. I was running across the United States, managing projects. And I looked at a lot of software and tried to use software that helped me manage, be more efficient, and there was nothing really there. So I created this as a tool to help me be more efficient as a project manager, not knowing it was ever going to really turn into a complete software company. What happened was a lot of our customers turned and said like, "Hey, what's that software you're running? How are you doing this?" And we turned into a software company because of what we built just off of our experience, and that's where we're at today. We've only been a software company officially for less than a year. We've onboarded 25 new customers here this year, and
Oh,
a
wow.
lot of those customers were people that we'd worked with in the past, had trust and relationship with, and we're now venturing out and grabbing new customers and bringing them on board, and it's been fun.
All right. So how long did it take to go from idea to functioning software?
Yeah, about 4 years, honestly.
Wow.
It kind of started really small with just, creating formulas. We created the first actual iteration of it in Excel with just tabs and formulas. And then it eventually turned into an integrated software. Now we're to the point where we have 95% accurate weather coming in from GPS locations. We got AI running in the back end, managing documents, putting in folders, looking at productions, giving text notifications to the users. So it's just growing from an idea to, building these formulas in Excel to now to a fully automated software that we call it the foreman's best friend or a project assistant doing this type of stuff. So it's been
That's cool.
amazing to see it grow like that.
Yeah. All right. So let's get into the very first customer. So you've got sounds like you used it internally for yourself for a while first. Um, Talk about that transition. What did that look like going from being an internal tool into a commercial product that you sold to
Yeah,
somebody else?
yeah, absolutely. That was a little scary transition because we were very hands-on with the tool and allowing somebody else to run with it and operate it without us being there to watch everything happen was scary. And we went to one of our biggest customers that we had a lot of success with, Northern Improvement, and we pretty much sat down with them and like, hey, this is how we've been running our projects. We want to hand it off to you to test it and see if it works for you as well as it does for us. And it did. And it evolved into moving it into a crew. Listening to their feedback. I mean, that's one of the most important things that we've been learning is when a client tells us that something works or doesn't work, listening to them and taking that friction away has helped tremendously with our transition. So we went to Northern. They tried it out. They had great success. Gave us a lot of tips, and we just keep building on it and grab more customers and keep listening and building.
All right. So after you got your first paying customers or customer, did you start doing any kind of advertising, or was it just kind of face-to-face sales?
Yeah, we did mostly face to face. We transitioned into it kind of fairly slow because we were still testing exactly how it fit into the industry. We knew we had a niche product because we did a little research on other software companies. I knew my past experience, I looked for them, and I knew there was nothing really that fit what we were doing with the weather integrations and everything. So we wanted to test it and make sure it worked really well and fit the contractors before we really started, marketing it hard. We're at that part now in the life cycle of this where I'm actually out at a convention right now in Indiana, asphalt convention, where we got a booth up. We're doing demos. We're showing people how this works, and we're disrupting the asphalt industry right now with it. And that's really fun, but a little scary as well, because we're changing behaviors. Honestly, people have never seen anything like this, and it's fun and scary for them.
So is it pretty exciting for people, or do you see good feedback just from that physical exposure in person?
Yeah, we do, and honestly, it depends a lot on. There's a big generation gap.
Right.
The older generation is a little afraid of technology. That if they've used their pen and paper and Excel, and honestly, that's our biggest competitor right now is pen, paper, Excel, and just old school methods. The
Yeah.
younger generation that comes in and sees it, they just love it, and they have all kinds of ideas. They're the first ones. They're our champions, I guess, and they just they're ready to try it. They sign up for a demo. They're rocking and rolling. So that's been good.
Okay, that's interesting. The biggest competitor is pen and paper and spreadsheets.
Mm-hmm.
But so part of that's just going to take time of either educating your customer base or your target customer, or kind of that target customer slowly aging out of the industry. Is it that target customer base, is it made up of mostly older people who are a little afraid of technology, or what's that mix of your target audience?
Yeah, so actually right now, 25% of the industry is 55 years old or older, and they'll be transitioning, retiring pretty soon. There's a lot of younger generation moving into positions where they want technology. So like the timing is really good for us right now.
Yeah.
5, 6 years ago, we thought about doing this and we're just like, it's not quite there yet. So we feel like that part of it's really good. And the older generation, they're not against it. They're just there's a behavior change, right? When you've done something your whole life for 40,
Yeah.
30 years with pen and paper, now you got to do it with the technology. But everybody has a phone. That's the crazy thing. Everybody's got a phone. You can run this whole software from your phone. So it's just a lot of training and teaching, and that's what we're doing a lot of right now.
Okay, so it sounds like it can do a lot of things, but does it actually save money in some way, or affect that bottom line, or some kind of improvement in the actual outcome, to where if like the business owner heard about what it did, they'd be like, hey guys, you got to get trained on this and use it because we want to save that money or something?
Yeah, so that was before we really even started marketing this. We ran 27 projects through it in 3 years and tested and worked through the software. And we were able to do an impact case study on that, find the efficiencies increased like 13% overall on these projects. And,
Okay.
and the time back, that's the huge thing, like time back for these individuals, 1 to 3 hours a day. You can't get that time back, and it helps them be more hands-on. So that's one of the biggest things that we're really finding out is people like the automation just to get that time back to concentrate on their crews and be an actual project manager. We're also finding with like the impacts, the weather impacts, when we can predict that a week out from now you're going to get 2 rain days and it's going to affect your schedule leg, and moving crews around to certain places that aren't impacted by the weather to be more efficient as a company really can help with idle time and lost profits and lost quality on these projects. So yeah, we're finding a lot of bottom line improvements in profits.
So have you run ads with those kind of key benefits, like save 3 hours a day on your project, that kind of stuff? Have you run any digital marketing type ads yet?
Yeah, we do a lot of LinkedIn. We do a lot
Okay.
of this industry is pretty organic as far as a lot of people come to these asphalt expos. We'll be at like World of Asphalt, Pavex, some big asphalt expos where people want to touch and feel and really, talk with you. That's where we have the most success. But, we do a lot of outreach through LinkedIn training, those types of things. And that's where we try to do a lot of our teaching. That's why we're doing podcasts. Like, we just want to introduce people to the world that like this is something we're doing for the industry, and it's out there, and it's a new wave of the way industry is going to operate. So yeah, that's a big part of it.
So is there a specific type of project that this software is specifically built for? You mentioned paving, um, and possibly some other things.
Yeah, I mean, we've specifically built it for the asphalt paving world because it's one of the most sensitive industries, because you
Hmm.
have asphalt that is affected by temperature, wind, rain, and
Okay.
you're very held to your environment, which you can't control. So being able to schedule when and how you work with your operations is very important. But we've got municipalities running it. We've got some dirt contractors, because you can still look at the impacts to your weather on your operation. You can still centralize everybody into this one platform where if my project manager or myself send out a permit, it's dropped into this platform, Pavewise, and that foreman gets a text notification that they now have that document, instead of calling and bugging each other and wondering where things are. It's literally allowing you to just do your work, and it'll notify you when something is in the software, or when
Yeah.
a weather impact is happening.
Wow. That makes a lot of sense. You're taking an industry that's based on, clipboards and spreadsheets and building software around it. That's like the classic advice for building a software company or a software as a service. Find an industry that's a little behind, digitize it, make it efficient, and you've already got an edge. So that's really cool. You found this niche, and it just came naturally from you being in the industry. Um, I am curious, what made you think of uh, going the software direction? Did you have some exposure on the tech side, or were you just thinking that there has to be a better way to do some of these processes?
Yeah, it honestly happened naturally. 6, 7 years ago, if you would have told me if I was going to own a software company, I would have laughed, honestly. It just kind of happened to where we had something we built that worked really good and people were interested in it. And we knew, as a business to business company consulting, we couldn't scale to the point to, we were saying no more than yes to customers, because we were just a small company doing consulting. We knew we had to put it into a software to reach more people and impact the industry. And it naturally went that way. And it I got a good team around me that was, I'm not tech. I'm not from the tech industry. I do a lot of technologies in the construction industry, but not like software tech.
Yeah,
I got a good CTO. I got a good co-founder, and we just like started building it and working it, and it just kind of evolved, and
that's awesome.
happened naturally.
Yeah. And going back to that very first sale, was that a connection you had already? I can't remember what you said about that part.
Yeah, that was a customer that we'd worked with in the past, that
Okay.
we'd ran projects with, and it was still difficult, like to go. It's a trust thing, right? Like, hey, I got this software. Will you pay me to try this? And like, it's kind of awkward, right? To go from a business to business where you bill yourself hourly out, to like, here's a SaaS, right? Where you give
Yeah.
us this amount of money for this software, and we can't exactly tell you what kind of value you're going to get out of it, but you'll get something, right? So that's been a learning process to kind of move into that whole SaaS world and software, and going from a traditional business kind of aspect. So
Yeah. Okay, that's really cool. Well, this is really interesting, and it's funny because it lines up with a recent episode where, and it's actually one that's recorded. It hasn't launched yet, but the person I interviewed right before you, they had also been in the industry for years, and then, from the insights they gained from that industry, were able to launch a business after years of experience. And it just kind of reinforces the idea that not everything that looks like an overnight success was an overnight success, because there's this whole history of that person, or one of the founders at least, their career usually leads up to this moment of being able to know what even needs to be built. And then from that kind of foundation of experience, you can launch something successful that just looks like, oh man, they just got lucky and, just took off.
Yeah, I wish that was the case, but yeah, I mean, honestly, a lot of this software was built from learning, from mistakes,
Yeah.
from heartache of not having a successful project and learning why. I was heavy into figuring out cause and effect. I would track projects like, why did this project not go well and how do we prevent it on the next one? And that's where a lot of the software is built from, that experience and knowledge of cause and effect, and we keep building it upon that. And that's, yeah, I wish it would have happened just like that, but yeah, there's literally 16 years of experience into this software, and
Wow.
we keep putting more into it every year. So
Right. You mentioned LinkedIn. Are you experimenting with any other platforms?
We do a little bit with Facebook, LinkedIn. We have a digital marketing company that helps us with videos, and things like that. We're partnering with a company from Tennessee called BuildWit that really works hard with like the
Okay.
industry and pushing training. So we're just building a lot of organic relationships, and digitally. LinkedIn has been our go-to. A lot of the professionals in our industry are on there. They're easy to connect with, and we've just had really good success there.
Okay. You mentioned videos. Is that the type of media that you see performing the best for you?
Yeah, we do training videos, just even in
Okay.
the industry that gains a lot of attraction. And then we have like 5 tutorial videos and just on the software that really help individuals gain a lot of attraction. And I do a lot of LinkedIn posts on the industry. I go out and meet with a lot of contractors, even if they're not a customer using the software. We still go out and do training with them, with equipment manufacturers. We're very much involved in the industry and want to see it succeed. So we're always pushing for those advancements like that.
Do you see most customers coming in as leads from your like digital marketing funnel, or from the events and the in-person efforts?
Yeah, it's honestly probably 75% come in organically right now, or through expos, people that we've met, or this industry is, they say it is the smallest, biggest industry in the United States because it's huge. You think of like the infrastructure industry, all the roads, the skyscrapers, the
Right.
water. It's huge. Like imagine that, not having those things, but like nobody talks about construction really. It's not like a hot industry or anything.
Yeah.
So the people that are in it, everybody knows everybody, or
Gotcha.
that company knows that company, even if it's like I'm in Indiana, right? And I've worked with a company here and talked with them for the last few years, and they know a company out in California just because they watch their work and kind of stay in touch. So like everybody kind of knows everybody, and we are connecting with people that we've never talked to, smaller companies through social media, and we do some outreach through other like Facebook and just our YouTube and stuff, and that attracts people that we've never met with, and gets a lot of attention there too.
So you said 75% you feel like is coming from all your marketing efforts,
Yeah.
and including the events and whatnot.
Yeah.
Okay. And so what's the other 25%? Is that just straight cold sales, going after
Yeah.
stuff, outbound stuff?
We do a lot of outbound, just we get lists of attendees at events and stuff, and we make a lot of
Okay.
phone calls. We get a lot of referrals too, from people not even in the specific industry that like are maybe in a testing agency or the state that's like, hey, I think this company could use this and benefit a lot. So we get a lot of referrals. We do a lot of outreach through cold calling and things like that we get some success. But definitely the organic is our bread and butter.
Okay. Interesting. So how big of a sales force do you have? Maybe you could just mention roughly give people an idea of like marketing team and sales team, or that the difference between those two teams?
Yeah, the sales team, we're pretty small right now. There's actually only two of us, and honestly, that's all we can keep up with right now. We're a small team of seven right now as a company, and we're going to keep growing. But we don't want to grow to a point where we can't keep the customers we have satisfied. So we're just taking it step by step. The marketing team, we do a lot of that. We contract that out. We got a great marketing team called Telwell that does a lot of our video producing, a lot of our training videos. I do a lot of the LinkedIn posts, but I also have a product manager that does a lot of he's automated a lot of our digital marketing to do like drip campaigns and posts of our software and stuff. And that's been
Nice.
working really, really well for us.
Okay. So small sales team, outsource the marketing and automate as much as you can. That's cool.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. We found the more we can, put ourselves out there and people hear our name, that's really helped us with generating leads and people, interested in connecting on LinkedIn and stuff because they want to follow us. What we're doing is cool and they're interested. So we've found being consistent on that outreach and posting and stuff like that has came a long way for us.
Yeah. So you're the CEO slash co-founder, and so you're doing sales, and then is the other person a dedicated salesperson?
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
That's correct. And we do have a couple distributors that have been helping too with just outreach. They're not selling our software yet, but they're promoting it. Obviously, when we can partner with equipment manufacturers like John Deere and these agencies across the United States, it just helps us get our name out there. And we want to integrate and partner. We're talking about integrations with some pretty cool companies currently on station, and some other bigger software companies are doing the estimating and stuff because we can all link together and help the whole industry because they do a certain part that's really specialized. We do a special or part that's really specialized, and it overall just makes the industry more efficient.
How big is the specific part of the industry that you're going after, do you feel like, and how much progress have you made and kind of taken over the niche that you feel like you guys can take?
Oh, yeah, it's a big market. Just the asphalt paving itself has a market size of, about 8 to 10 billion. There's If you think of all the roads that are paved in the United States, 94% of
Yeah.
them are asphalt. Like people don't realize, like there's a lot of paving contractors. There's a
Right.
lot of infrastructure. We haven't even put a 5% dent in that. Honestly, we find new contractors and people every day that like we've never heard of, and I've been in this industry for 16, 17 years, and I'm like, where are you from, and why have I never heard of you? And like it seems like more and more of those are popping up, and that's just the asphalt industry. The municipalities and some of the other contractors we have in there running, dirt horizontal contractors, that makes a $30 billion market. If we do kind of get into more of those markets, which we're naturally kind of doing um, as we slowly keep growing as well.
And right now, you don't feel like there's much competition offering this kind of targeted software for the industry.
No, not. We pride ourselves as a solution center. We're the foreman's best friend. We're really geared towards helping the people in the field that are doing the work. We don't want to compete with the project management, like scheduling programs, the big companies that have kind of made their place there. So we've really niched towards we're one of the only companies integrating weather into efficiencies, into schedules. One of the only companies building AI in the back end to manage documents. And I think that's a lot to do with we're a small company, we're nimble, we
Yeah.
can test these things and try them out and build them pretty quick and see if they work and kind of help our customers with their needs more than some of the bigger companies. So specifically what we're doing, we haven't found a direct software competitor um, exactly doing what we're doing yet.
All right, let's take a different angle for a minute and think about what you've learned as an entrepreneur, co-founder, CEO over these past several years, and think about you're giving advice to somebody maybe a little earlier on the path. They're trying to get a software company going, a SaaS company, or maybe something in the construction industry, or just a company in general. Are there any kind of principles or key lessons that stand out that you learned?
I just like work hard. Things will happen. I mean, it sounds like simple and stuff, but keep grinding, and enjoy the wins. Like that's one thing that I never did right away was when we got our first customer. Like we never like celebrated that, and
Yeah.
it's those little celebrations. You work so hard, and you get to these points, and you don't even like. I hate to say it, but like in an entrepreneur startup world, time like is like you're so busy trying to do multiple roles and hats. Like enjoy those little wins and listen to your customers. I mean, when they tell you something's not working, or something is working, like pay attention because they're the ones using it, and just keep listening. And I always say, like, stay humble. Everything happens for a reason. Hard work will pay off, and that's just kind of the mindset I've always been an entrepreneur, and it's going to be hard, but there's always a light at the end of the tunnel. So
That's good stuff. Would you recommend any books? Do you have any books? It's a question I ask everybody. Is there anything that's kind of helped you along the way, and there's no limit on the kind of range of thing it could be?
yeah, I mean, I do enjoy reading. I've learned a lot from books over the last few years, starting a software company, and we're venture backed. I didn't even
Okay.
know what that meant a year and a half ago. We just closed a round out as a tech company, with a lead investor from Chicago, and I didn't know what dilution was and all this stuff. So I've read a lot of good books on companies, like on product. One's called the Mom Test.
Okay.
That book has been really good. You know, uh, a lot of books on uh, 10x, those types of SaaS models, and I just finished one up on a bio on Howard Hughes. So people who just keep have an idea and keep pushing it, and
Yeah.
testing the limits, and kind of have that mindset has been good. I read a lot of those kinds of books. So
Okay. So you mentioned 10X. Is that the Grant Cardone 10X
yes,
book?
yep,
Okay.
yep.
And then do you remember what Howard Hughes book it was
Um,
specifically?
that was just a biography, so
Okay.
I couldn't remember who the exactly on that one. But the Mom
Okay.
Test, I couldn't tell you who the author was on that one too, but that was really good
I'll
for
find it.
product. And
Okay.
then I do throw in a little bit of some good reading as well, from religious reading to
Yeah. Yeah.
theology, things like that. I'm reading the Awe of God right now, and kind of I do a
Okay.
lot of meditation. I love
Yeah.
meditation, those types of things. So that's another tip I would give to anybody who
Okay.
is getting into this world. Like, take time for yourself, and like, a 10-minute meditation goes a long way when you're frustrated and maybe stressed out.
Talk a little bit about that. Can you explain what you do for meditation or what that looks like?
Yeah, I do it daily. Honestly, it's one of the first things I do when I wake up. I put aside 10 to 15 minutes of meditation, and just literally, it's taken a long time. I'm a very active person, so for me to shut my brain off, it's literally taken me 6 years since I started meditating to a point where I can do it effectively. Um, I I was a very, and I still am a very, I don't like flying. I don't like sitting still. I've used meditation as a way for me to do things like public speaking.
Hmm.
And almost, we call it like visualization. I would sit down and visualize my day, and think about what I need to do, and almost plan for that. And I do a lot of that before I go to bed as well. It's just kind of a way to sit down and think about how your day went, or how your day is going to go, and kind of planning for it, and just connecting. And I do a lot of it out in nature as well. One of my favorite
Hmm.
things to do is just go out into nature, into the mountains, and hike and sit and just enjoy peace and quiet.
So does it, the actual meditating happen while you're sitting, or do you consider it part of the walking and all that? Or
I have to, I have to be sitting to do it.
okay,
I've tried to do some walking meditation and some different procedures like that, and I have to really be concentrated all in. I can't have any distractions. Usually it's with some noise cancellation on, and like I'm all in just on meditation, a lot of breathing
huh.
techniques, and just that type of meditation.
Is there a certain name for the type that you've done?
You know, I do a combination of the ones called, I think it's called visualization meditation, where you actually visualize like you performing. Like I do that before
Okay.
I get do like public speaking in front of people. I just sit and visualize how well it's going to go and what I'm going to do. Almost like you I almost think of it as like you think of yourself in the future and how you're going to do, and you almost can convince your brain that's the way it's going to go, so that you get rid of that anxiety and that fear of, oh, what if this happens. um, so I do that for more like performance, but the other meditation that I use just to relax and stuff, I think it's just considered like breathing meditation or standard time meditation, that
Hmm.
type of thing.
Very interesting. Okay, I don't think too many people have mentioned that as one of their daily practices, so that's cool to see.
Yeah, yeah.
All right. Well, man, Bryce, we've gotten some great insights. This is really cool. I love hearing about companies that found a really clear niche like this. It seems like you're breaking into new open ground, huge opportunity. So that's exciting, and wish you guys the best of luck in continuing to grow. But I mean, it seems like all the momentum is in your favor at the moment.
Yeah, it's good. I mean, like our biggest, honestly, our biggest roadblock is just getting the industry to accept a new change and see the advantages of it, and
Yeah,
that'll come with time. And I mean, ultimately, our goal is to help an industry improve and be better. The people can do better with technology and just relieve a little bit of stress with automation. And as long as we keep on that path and keep working on that kind of mindset, I think it'll just happen. I hope.
yeah. Well, this has been another episode of the First Customers podcast. I'll add several links to the show notes, to Pavewise, and more about Bryce and the recommendations that he made during the show. But Bryce, thanks again, and we'll see everybody next time.
Yeah, thank you, Paris. Have a good